One of the number one things I hear from women struggling to get visible is that they're worried about how they look on camera. Imagine what it would be like to worry about how you look on camera if you work in the beauty industry. Imagine the standards you're up against. Well, that's exactly what today's guest went through. She works in the beauty industry and she's going to share how she got over that, found some vulnerability and authenticity to show up as her real self. Welcome to Show Up and Be Seen. I'm Valerie McTavish, sharing insights and inspirations to help you get visible so you can increase your impact and grow your business. Today we are welcoming Nikki Hunter. She is the owner and officially director of shenanigans of the Green Vanity, which is a natural beauty store in Kelowna, British Columbia, but also online shipping across North America. In addition, she has been in the beauty industry for years, I'm going to say decades, and she is also a certified corneotherapist, which, in case you don't know, I certainly didn't, is an expert on skin. So she is here to talk to us a little bit about her journey as an entrepreneur to get visible. Welcome, Nikki.
Thanks, Val. It's so exciting to be doing this with you because you were in the very beginning of my journey so many years ago, and you literally have watched this struggle from day one when I started my very first store, which we refer to now as Green Vanity 1.0, and now we're at Green Vanity 3.0, and I went from so overwhelmed and hidden to now just out and so excited to just express and be who I am, understanding that I represent so many women, and therefore that makes me seen because we all have the same thing in common.
Yes, and I know your struggle. You're right, because right from day one, I was like, when are you going to do videos? When are you going to do videos? And then a year later, I'm like, Nikki,
Yeah.
are we ready for videos? Are we ready for videos? So let's dive in though. Let's talk about the challenges you faced working in the beauty industry. You were sort of in conventional beauty at the beginning of your career, makeup artist, working with different cosmetic lines, and then moving into the natural space. So what was it like? What was this challenge of not wanting to, the resistance to doing videos and getting visible with your business? What was that challenge all about?
I think it was like a really multifaceted thing because um, as you leave one version of something that's all you've known, and there's things about it that you dislike so much, which was part of your motivation to leave. But then you see these things about, presenting yourself and things like that. You almost feel like you're going back to the side of the enemy, and so I'm trying to be this not showing of beauty and this like that whole vibe. I didn't know how to do it, but I also representing beauty, I didn't know how to show up all barefaced and not double stacked false lashes and sparkly eyeshadow like I was before that. And I was in my mid 40s, and I had to learn not only how to redefine myself in business, but how to redefine myself as a woman. And it was a lot going on at once. And it was just too much. So I just didn't do it. I just didn't. I'm like, no, I'll write blogs. No, I'll do this.
Right. Yeah, there was a safe way for you to show up for your
Hmm.
business, and it
Yeah.
was kind of like at a distance, right? And it's so
Hmm.
interesting because you knew that you were rebelling against traditional beauty. You had a very good reason for that, your own personal journey with cosmetics and chemicals.
Yeah.
But at the same time, rebelling against these long-standing ideals of beauty was a whole separate journey.
Totally a whole separate journey, and how to do it in a way that wasn't playing by the same rules that the more conventional side was doing it. Because if you're playing it by the same rules, are you really doing it different? And I always was so worried of looking like a hypocrite in the process, right? So then I'm constantly overthinking it in my head, when it's like you can still show up and talk to people, like just show up and talk to people. It's not, I was making it way bigger in my head is what it comes down to. I would talk around in a circle till I talk myself back out of it again. Every reason not to.
Tell me a little bit more about how you escalated this in your head. What kinds of stories were you telling yourself about what it meant for you to show up and be visible? What kinds of stories were circling you back around to hiding behind the blogs and just being there in person?
Yeah, that's such a great great question, because it's still something like, here I am, how many years later, almost 6 years later, still like digging myself out of, because as you learn one thing, you're like, oh, there's way more here about that. And everything from like good old imposter syndrome. It's like, who am I to question this? Who am I to lead people in this? I'm just Nikki. What do I know? And, is sitting in the reality of, if someone can hop online and do a video cleaning out their pores with a fork, I'm pretty sure I can show up and talk about why that's a poor choice. You know what I mean? But for whatever reason, I couldn't, pull myself out of the kind of impostery. I'm really new to this side of beauty. If I was still in the conventional beauty, I had enough experience. Maybe I could do it there, but not here. And interestingly enough, as much as I am in that side of beauty now, where it is about just, you're beautiful and that's your birthright. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to like put on anything. You can just show up and you're beautiful already. The rest of it's just fun, right? But back, however many years ago, someone had called me snaggletooth, and because my teeth aren't straight. And for me, that was a very powerful dialogue. And in all honesty, in my phone, in my computer, in everything, there are hundreds of videos that I just never posted, because even though the content of it is incredible and the vibe is incredible, all I see is snaggletooth. So that person called me snaggletooth and moved on with their life, and here they still have this great power over me. And lately now I'm just like, snaggletooth to the rescue.
Well, and you know what? People are watching right now, and until you said snaggletooth, I bet not a single one was thinking
Yeah.
that woman has this, like, you know what I mean? Like, it gets in our
Yeah.
heads because one person said it. That's so crazy. And it's
Yeah,
interesting.
totally.
I know, I'm going to reveal some of your secrets here. I know that you did a ton of scripted videos. You even
Ton.
worked with a professional videographer. And
Spent
those
all the money.
videos, and spent the money, right? And you thought, okay, if I
Mhm.
do it professionally, I can't get out of it, right? I'm hiring someone to
Yeah.
shoot it, so I can't get out of it. I'm hiring someone to edit it, can't get out of it. But how did you get out of it?
I didn't post them. I didn't share them. They are still thousands of dollars of video sitting on my computer. And now, because that was so long ago, it's irrelevant content. So it
Right.
was a
But
waste because I couldn't come out.
you
Yeah.
did find a way to come out, and it was going live.
Yeah. And it happened so organically and so like, I don't want to say ridiculous, but when you hear the story, it's kind of ridiculous because it just became an extension of my own personality. And then I'm like, it can't be this easy. And the answer is yes, actually, it's that easy. So one of my clients came into my store one day, and she was struggling with some minor skin issues that were remedied very easily. And one of the really simple fixes for it was just getting involved in a really basic nightly cleansing practice. And her resistance of not being able to do it was very, like, she was really pushing back. So I challenged her and I said, listen, I have a group online on Facebook. I'll make you a deal. If you show up there every night at 8:30, I'll show up with you and we'll wash our face together. Because that way, if I can show up, you can show up. We both have a lot going on, but we'll do it together. So I was using the platform, but with one client in mind. We were meeting at 8:30. Over the next months, it got to the points where hundreds of people were showing up and we were all washing our face at 8:30. Timing was part of it because it started escalating just as the pandemic started escalating. So everyone was their schedules were really thrown off. Hanging on to the really important small practices of life was quite disrupted. And it was kind of that place we could all just show up together and be like, whew, we got this. But in the end, that's an extension of what the green vanity is that place where people go to like, whew, we got this. So then that went on for 5 months. What was going to be a few nights to help me get one client online with her practice ended up turning into one of the most talked about support things that happened in the clean beauty industry in Canada. And
And
I
I just
still
want
have
I
clients
just
that
want
talk
to
about it.
pause for a second, Nikki, because I want to
Yeah.
make sure that everyone understands exactly what we're talking about. You
Mhm.
literally showed up on Facebook Live on your page and you washed your face live
With them. Yeah.
with them. And
Yeah.
I got to tell you, people were watching and not washing their face. They were just watching you
Watching.
wash your
Yeah.
face. And this is one of those things that it seems ridiculous, but you were actually serving your customer, specifically one
Mhm.
customer, right? Listening to your
Yeah.
customer, finding out what they needed from you in your
Yeah.
videos and in you being visible, how they needed you to show up. You showed up for
Hmm.
them and you realized your entire community wanted you to show up that way.
Yeah.
And it was a simple thing, but there was value every day because you changed up the routine, you used
Yeah.
different products. So from a business perspective, you were showcasing your product line
Yeah.
and you talked about the importance of little pieces of the ritual. And
That's right.
not only did it, grow a big audience, it helped your business.
It totally helped my business. And it was really fun in the way too that within it, the people who were experiencing it were like, you got to join Nikki's group because this is going to happen. And so then my group, when it started, I think was at 38 people, and it's currently sitting just shy of 800. So it's like it went from here to here. And was really great because in the comments it'd be like it was like Q&A, so then it'd be like, oh, I see so and so asked this question, and how about we do that, we'll answer that tomorrow night while we're washing our face. So then we were constantly using the today's conversations to help tomorrow's conversations, and we were a little cult. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, there was this communal experience, and that's the basis of community, right? And so this is a
Yeah.
huge piece of how showing up and being visible and being there for your community in a way that they need you to be there can make a huge
Yeah.
difference in building that community, not just in numbers. Those are people who, once you stopped washing your face every day with them, they're still there, they're still engaged, and they're shopping at your store.
They are. And to take it one step further, one of the really valuable things I learned as a human from that experience is when you're in that place, when you're choosing to be personal with your clients at that level, they want to reciprocate too. And in the first weeks of my live video, my dad passed away. And there was one night, the day he passed away, I couldn't make it to the sink. So my friend and podcast partner went to the sink for me, and she did a nutrition piece for us while she washed her face. And the next night, I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. I can do this. And needless to say, barely into my washing ritual, I started to like bawl my face off. And the community was just so compassionate and kind and supportive. And that bonded us more because they're like, oh, Nikki needs help too. And for them to be like, well, Nikki's been helping us, we want to help her in return. And that's where that community piece really starts, is when you put yourself out there as a human with them, it creates a bond that's not just client anymore. I call them my friends. They're my friend clients. And we're more now. They saw me at a really vulnerable time. They extended, like my inbox blew up for like personal support. And that's when I realized these beautiful humans are so much more than just clients to me. They're in for the long haul as my friends, my community supporters. Like they're in. And months before that, I never would have put myself in a situation to cry in front of my clients. I would never do that.
You know, it's it's such a literal analogy
Mm-hmm.
for authenticity and vulnerability. You are
Yeah.
literally appearing barefaced and raw
Yeah.
in front of your audience,
Yeah.
and it's completely accelerated the building of relationships. You know me, I'm always talking
Yeah.
about content serves you best when it builds relationships with your ideal customers. And that's
That's right.
exactly what this strategy did. Even though it was
Yes.
not necessarily an intentional strategy, it turned out to be an amazing strategy because it was for the right reasons. You had a purpose and a why you were doing it, and you were able to show up and be authentic and be real. And there was no hiding behind anything. There was no makeup, there was nothing. It was
No,
literally washing off the day with your clients.
with
So
my
just a
clients.
beautiful example. Just a beautiful
Yeah.
example.
And I love I love so much of how effortless and organic it was. It just like, oh, this feels right. I'm going to do that. And then it just proved that when one client has a need, that is so many clients. Like we all really share the same things. Like if I could have 5 cents for every time I remind clients just to chew their food, like it's the really basic things that we all have in common. And, sometimes we start thinking way out here in big, like somehow we need to do it bigger than everybody else. It's like, no, we actually don't. We need to really get back to those basics and support the most basic needs that we all have. And it's usually the ones that we can even mirror with our clients. Like, what are the things we're struggling with? Chances are they're struggling with it too. And if it's in your top 5 most asked questions, do content on it.
I love that tip, and I'm gonna keep the ball rolling here. What other tips do you have for someone who's maybe struggling to do video or struggling to be visible in their business? What tips do you have? What would you tell yourself 6 years ago that you know now about showing up?
Yeah, just go live. Just go live. There's no getting out of it. I mean, be prepared, right? Like, don't just turn on the camera and like wing it. Be prepared. Know what you're going to say. Try and stay focused. Be prepared to be, a little derailed if questions show up. But like Valerie does, and I do too, we just have some little post-it notes so that if we do get over here, we know where to come back to, because we had those few points we really wanted to make so that there was an intention behind the video. And there's just no getting out of it at that point. And don't feel weird to just post to like whatever. Like after it goes live, you have that option to post it to your feed. Post it to your feed. It's if you're talking about it, it's relevant. Just post it.
Yeah.
Just post it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. You're singing my song. And I love that. Now, one more thing that you do that I love with your business is that you realized very early on that you didn't have a lot of time to write your newsletters, but you knew how important they were to your audience. So now you show up and you just literally compose your newsletters in a video and send the video out. And I think
100%.
that's another great tip.
Yeah, 100%. Because it's way easier to be authentic in a video because facial expressions and tone of voice, and it's faster than typing it out, which works really well for time management. And there's just so many great platforms out there now to make this stuff super easy. And you can just set the tone. Like when I moved into the current Green Vanity just a couple months ago, everyone was so excited to see it. And we're still really not supposed to all be descending on locations in mass, right? So I could use this platform to actually do a virtual tour of the store. And the open rate on that newsletter for, industry norm for beauty and wellness for like benchmark for open rate is 4.2%. My open rate on that newsletter was 65% because all it said in the header was virtual tour of the new Green Vanity. And everyone's like, I want to see. And it's just really welcoming your community to what's happening so they can be excited with you because they want to be excited with you. So just invite them on your journey with you.
I love that. That is such a great tip. Thank you so much. I know that speaking of the Green Vanity, the doors are supposed to be opening very soon here. So before I let you go though, Nikki, you're doing something really great on your website. It's a free resource. Tell me about this offer for some love.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've really learned from choosing to be in that area where beauty and wellness meet is we're all really digging through the emotional stuff. And when we're needing some support with that, some of the practices we can have in our life can actually be more harm than help because we're not getting a chance to move through our things. And not all of us actually have the support around us necessary, or we're trying to take our stuff out of our circle a bit more because the people involved are in our circle and we don't have a resource. I'm the resource. So one of the appointments I have at thegreenvanity.ca under the appointment bookings is I just need some love. And it's a 20-minute time block where I will literally, I understand it's not about makeup or skincare or anything. It's just I am prepared when I see that I need to just hold some space for somebody, and anyone can book it anytime. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, we especially struggle with that because we're really pushed into that grind mindset and that more push masculine energy when our more innate energy is to be a bit more flow, and we can start feeling really overwhelmed and exhausted. And sometimes just having that safe space with someone just to like hear us, see us, validate us is really all we need to have a really good day. So I can be that person, book anytime. If you have skin concerns, you can do that too.
I will put a link to that in the descriptions, and literally it's an appointment you can book with Nikki if you just need some love. So I love
Just need
that.
someone.
Thank you so much, Nikki, for being here today and sharing your story. You know, for me, the biggest takeaway, and I've watched your journey, and it is don't push yourself into doing what other people think you need to be doing. You know, Nikki bought into this idea of having to do these produced videos, and it was a hard lesson to learn that she just needs to show up authentically as herself and do it live in a way that she can't second guess it. And her audience has received it and received it with open arms. She's grown her community as a result, and not only grown in numbers, but in loyalty. Her community shows up for her time and again. It's how she was able to be super successful through the pandemic and come out the other side with an even bigger audience, bigger community, and moved into an even bigger bricks and mortar space. So if you take anything away from this, it's show up the way that you're comfortable, be authentic and vulnerable. Don't be afraid to answer those questions that people are asking you, and do what Nikki does. Just bring your own true self to the camera.
Absolutely.
Because
And do this. Put paper towel. I have paper towel in my armpit. I won't even pull it out because this is so stressful for me. I just put paper towel in my armpit and then go, and no one even knows that I'm like sweating my face off. Just no paper
I
towel in
had
my
no
armpits.
idea.
Yeah,
I had no idea. So there you go.
put the
One
paper
more
towel in
bonus
and
tip for
run.
you.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I love that. Thank you so much, Nikki. And if you are thinking that you want to get on camera and you're really struggling with the confidence to get on camera, I also have a resource called the 3 Keys to On-Camera Confidence. So I'll put a link to that in the description as well. Grab it. It's free. It's a quick training, and it'll really get you on the road to focusing on the right things when it comes to being on camera and being confident. I'm gonna maybe have to add the paper towels in the armpits one. That's a good one, Nikki. Thank you again for being here for Show Up and Be Seen. And remember, you got into business to help someone solve a problem, and you can't do that if you stay hidden. So show up for them, show up for your business, and show up for yourself. We'll see you next time.